this episode of Hear It From a Huskie. I'm Dr. Laurie Fiorenza, and today I am joined by our 3 leadership program teachers. I'll let each of you introduce yourselves.
Hi, my name is Lindy Novotny. I'm one of the leadership teachers. I also am in the visual art department.
I'm John Hoerster, leadership teacher. I teach in the English department as well, and I'm also the head football coach.
My name is Rahasad Singletary. I'm a physical education teacher at the high school, also one of the football coaches as well, and also a sponsor for the club Best Buddies.
Thank you so much for joining me today. I'm looking forward to our conversation. Can you just tell me a little bit about the leadership program here at OPRF?
So our main focus in the leadership program is that it is a near-peer mentoring program. One of the things we discovered about 12 years ago with the strategic plan is that we needed a peer mentoring program that met the needs of the upperclassmen and the underclassmen, so seniors essentially, and underclassmen meaning freshmen, meeting and forming a relationship and a bond to help our school community, but also to set that role model expectation. And we knew that juniors and seniors could be put in that position, but we didn't have an established program for that. So the launch aspect of Leadership and Launch program is actually the freshman space that the students are in. They're either in several different spaces, either a study hall that's just randomly assigned throughout the day, and we also have them in some of our math spaces and some of our support spaces, as well as additional spaces throughout the years. It's changed and adjusted just based on what we're teaching. And those are spaces that we have only freshmen, and then we have these leadership students that are those near peer mentors, and they are all juniors and seniors. They are selected through a very rigorous process. They have to be recommended. They have to apply. They have to be interviewed, and then they have to be selected. And throughout that process, which takes about 3 months, there's a heavy vetting. So we look at grades, we look at attendance, we look at behavior. We get a ton of teacher recommendations, support from counselors, social workers, deans, anybody that has kind of a contact with the students. So it's a pretty rigorous process to select kind of the best of the best as the leaders.
And didn't we just finish that process? I was kind of part of it.
We did. We had a significant number this year apply, more than ever. In fact, way over 300 students applied. We ended up selecting 168. So it's our biggest year yet. Very pleased about that. But those students will then now go in, and we'll probably see about 700 freshmen next year. So they'll have leaders in their space as that peer mentor, and they see them 3 days a week. They see them Wednesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays for the entirety of the school year.
That's amazing. I just am so impressed with, over the 5 years I've been here, the growth that the program continues to show year after year, which just says a lot about our students and their desire to be leaders and serve and support their younger peers.
For sure.
So tell me a little bit about how the program benefits all of our students, not just the students who are leaders, but the students who are receiving that mentorship from their peer leader.
Yeah, I'll jump in there on that one. It's a twofold question. It benefits our freshmen a ton, and it also helps develop the leadership skills of our juniors and seniors who are in the class. We also have silks in the class who have been through the program, and they're also another piece of mentorship to our juniors and seniors who are leaders in the class. But I'll start off with our freshmen. Like, we have a really big, I would say, component of our school of really want to feel like they belong here. Like they have someone they can reach out to. They have this one person in the building. If something's going wrong or tough in my life, I have someone I can reach out to. I don't have to go through that alone. And our leaders serve a really, really big role in that piece where they have someone to go to. I see it daily when I get the chance to walk past or in the hallway where it's not even my class. I see a freshman running up to their senior like, oh my God, hey, or a senior speaks to their freshman and the face just lights up where they're just like, oh my God, a senior's talk to me. It's such a cool thing to see, and just I'll get a chance to walk through and see how the leaders are just using what's being applied to them on the Mondays and Tuesdays when they're with us to the freshmen when they're with them on the Wednesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays. And then I get another aspect of our juniors and seniors is really cool to see how they are learning the responsibility, learning the accountability they have to hold each other in the space of developing. Not everyone is at the same place of a leader. Not everyone has the same thing. That's a really awesome process. Where we go, we're really trying to vet and get through and see who fits certain roles. And so it's really cool to see how they can just mold and develop friendships and develop that responsibility of this is my person. I gotta look out for them. I gotta make sure that they have somewhere where they feel safe and belong and just love our school and just develop our school and think about this as a place like I went to Oak Park and River Forest, like, or not just I went to Oak Park and River Forest. Like,
right.
It's a really cool place to be.
Yeah. Can one of you speak just really quickly about how you actually teach the students to be better leaders?
There's a lot of different things that we do in the classroom. If you think of a typical classroom, learning, reading, we read a lot of philosophy, essays, articles, and not just from like school leadership perspectives, but also from, the business world, coaching, CEOs, CFOs, people who are in charge of groups of people. And we really talk about the different styles, and not that these students need to model any particular style, but just to see how different leaders work. But they also learn from each other and experiences they've had in the high school. You know, as you mentioned, we went through a really, really long, rigorous, and thoughtful interview process. So we have a lot of these amazing kids that really teach each other a lot of the times, because they have a lot of them. If you look at their resumes, they're in leadership positions in different parts of the building. They're captains of teams. They're in the Women in Leadership Club. They're in the Black Leaders Union Club. So they have all of these different experiences, and then they come together, and it's a really interesting way to grow. As Rahasad mentioned before, we have Silks that have done an amazing job helping us over the years, who were leaders as juniors and then come back and help mentor the leaders. And then a lot of it is just, you know, those Mondays and Tuesdays learning from each other. And then when we get into the classroom Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, problem solving. Because what happens oftentimes on Mondays and Tuesdays is we'll have curriculum that we'll want to implement and we'll want to talk about, but we can't really get to it because we got to problem solve and unpack some things that happen when the leaders were with their freshmen and they're coming across different challenges. And I tried this and it didn't work. And they kind of bounce ideas off each other. So in terms of growing their own leadership, a lot of it is like homegrown. A lot of it is like, you know, grassroots, where they're learning from each other. And then we try to bring in our experience over the years in different roles we've served, as well as bringing in new material, current material about leadership in the work world and how they can apply that to a high school environment.
So this program has been going for 10 years. This is the 10th year anniversary. How has the program changed since you started it 10 years ago?
The cool thing about this program is because we kind of started it out of thin air, we were, you know, kind of building the plane as we were flying it. And every year we kind of figured out something new and a better way of doing things. But the most basic and probably most fundamental and important way the program has changed is it's grown. Like the amount of kids that not only are leaders in the classroom for us, but how many freshmen those leaders impact. The first year in our pilot program, we had
48 leaders.
48 leaders. So Lindy had one class, I had one class.
Right.
And then those 48 leaders went out and worked with
Maybe 125 total students. So it was pretty small.
Right.
It was really a pilot year.
And I think back then it was pass-fail. In terms of the curriculum, we were really kind of piecing it together. There's a book that we used to use, and now we don't use it anymore because it's not as up-to-date as it could be. And then every year after that, we added more leaders, and they entered more classrooms, and then more and more until we're to the point where we're almost in every period of the day. We have
162 this year, right? And 168 next year, right?
Yes.
And we're in 27 classrooms this year. And I also want to recognize with the growth part is that we have so many teachers that have been a part of this program over the years. Truthfully, when we count all the teachers that have been launch teachers as study hall teachers or in the math spaces or academic strategies, we work with the team program. We haven't even mentioned that. The students get an opportunity to work in all the adapted spaces, adapted PE, culinary, choir, art, and drama. And they also get to work in the social living skills class, some of the math spaces with those team teachers. So just the amount of teachers that we also have been able to not only see the program growing, they see the benefit, but then they also team with us. Like we've learned from them and we know what doesn't work in certain rooms and what does. And so we have to hone which leaders are going to fit best in those spaces too. Some leaders are great in the social atmosphere of a study hall where they can chit chat all day long about things. And then other leaders, they want to be super focused in a math space. And that was a huge learning curve for us. Who's going to fit best in a math space? That was a big growth area for us.
And another thing, for many years, Lindy and I were the only two teachers in the leadership program. And then, you know, bringing Rahasad into the program, first of all, it got Lindy and I hyper-focused on like, all right, we're bringing someone else in. We need to be very clear in communicating what the program is. So it really got us aligned and it got us focused on the curriculum and what we're going to do and pace ourselves throughout the year. But it also, more importantly, brought a fresh set of eyes and a fresh brain to come in and generate so many new ideas, and his experience and working with the team students and working in the physical education department and some of the activities and the fun stuff that they do. So Rahasad was able to bring in a ton of ideas and really kind of freshen up what Lindy and I have been doing previously. So that's been a huge positive change, and I think that's been wonderful for the program.
Yeah. I can just imagine how it's going to grow in the next 5 and 10 years. So as you guys think back, especially you, Lindy and John, over the last 10 years, what are some of your fondest memories?
So I always say this to the leaders in the beginning of the year because they have no idea what they're about to get into. But one of the best things about teaching is what you get back from the students. And one of the best things is to watch the leaders get that same thing back. When a kid runs up to them, I got an A on the test you helped me on, or like, look, I finished my homework, or thank you so much for coming to my volleyball match or my theater production. The fact that the leaders can be that other representative in the building, it isn't just teachers that are fulfilling that role. They love it. They adore them for that. The fact that our freshmen, when they're in the space during the holidays, we do a warm and fuzzy activity where the leaders write to the kids and the kids write to each other. And those freshmen, when they become senior leaders, they're like, I still have my warm and fuzzy bag. That's one of my favorite memories. They bring they show it to me.
Yeah.
We have an individual in the building whose son was in our very first year. She goes, he was literally unpacking something under his bed and found it from 10 years ago, his warm and fuzzy bag. So those little things that carry that means they're carrying it with them beyond high school.
Absolutely.
Too. And then my other second thing, and I'll let John speak, is we bring back our veterans every year. This year we had almost 90 veterans come back out of all of our alumni. The fact that they want to continually come back, and these are people from every single year. These are people that are in medical school. They're in graduate school. They're in their jobs. They've traveled abroad. And they're now coming back and sharing that experience with their leaders. And sitting on the stage, both last year and this year, we had 3 generations. We literally had someone sitting in the audience, which was a current leader, who had had a leader on the stage, who had had another leader on the stage. And I was like, wow, that really means that it's making an impression.
It's making an
impression. Those are favorite memories.
Well, and I'm going to kind of jump in on that because that, when I was thinking about my fondest memory, it kind of was along those same lines. And there's so many students, like I think Lindy and I could probably like put down a list of students to apply to this, but a freshman, and I had her in a world studies class, but she also was in a study hall. So as a freshman, I see her working with the leadership program, and I see one of my leaders working with her. Fast forward 2 years when she's a junior, now she wants to be in the leadership program, so she joins the leadership program. So now she's a leader giving back to freshmen just like she received. And then senior year, she's a silk, so she stays with the program to help mentor the new mentors. And now she's seeking leadership roles at the University of Michigan and came back for our alum. Like, you see the growth of these students and how it becomes this like service project. Right? It's like a 4-year service project where they start off as freshmen, you know, they're learning and they find this connection to the building. And as Rahasad mentioned earlier, I think like when I look at the leadership program and I talk to my leaders, I just think this program is about reminding these kids to be grateful for this awesome opportunity and then paying it forward. And you see this full circle development, and then you see them connected to it and feel really proud that they're in the program and they went to this school and they come back and visit and they continually want to give back. And I think that's just such a powerful moment and something I always appreciate seeing every year.
So that's a really great segue to the last thing I want to ask. If each of you could give one thing that if I was a freshman and wanted to think about being a leader as a junior or a senior, what's one thing as a freshman I need to be focused and paying attention to or doing?
I would say get involved right away. Lead with the yes. If a kid invites you to see a show or see a sporting event, go see it. Enter any club or organization that you can. Go to every activity. Lead with the yes.
Great.
I was going to go with that. You jump the gun. Be involved and then practice gratitude. Thank people.
Yeah.
Thank your teachers.
That's good.
Thank your coaches.
That's good.
Really appreciate the things we have. Sometimes when you go to a big public school, you take it for granted. This is what you get. And you don't realize how awesome of a place this is. And the people are really what drives how awesome this place is.
That's amazing.
Yeah, like this place has so much to offer you. So much to offer you. You have to find your place for one. But I think about impact. So when someone asks that teacher about me, that their face lights up. They want to talk about me. There's no reason for me not to want to bring this person in. Every teacher I've asked about this person has talked about how amazing they are, how great they are, how whatever role it is, doesn't have to be in front of the class, but just like this person they helped me pick up stuff after everyone left the room. Like that sticks in people's mind.
Yeah.
Little things like that. It doesn't have to be, I took over a group, I got an A on everything I did.
That's wonderful.
It's lovely to see like when someone is just that person who the teacher sticks out like because of the other thing they did, not because of something I taught them, because they went above and beyond to do something that made them stick in my mind.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much for the impact you are making in the community you're building with the leadership program.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Hear It from a Huskie. Stay tuned for more from our Huskie faculty making an impact.